conversation with Arsalaan Alam, with the Delphite of class of 2023. And I thought I must just come and tell you why is he here. Many children when they pass out tell me that ma'am, my dream is that you will invite us as a chief guest. And we used to think, okay, when they become 35 years old, we will invite them. But here is a child. So we've always spoken about education is not something that we give you. Education is what you receive. In this school, we have tried to bring in a culture of self-learning. Over to you now. Thank you for your patience and all the best to you. So a lot of high expectations. I think I put a lot of burden and stress on you, but don't let it be. You just be a Delphite as you. He was just sharing with me and how difficult it is in 7 minutes to tell me the story of his life right from class 6 to now. But he did that in 6 minutes. That's great.
He's not just attended and cracked hackathons, he's won over 20 of them. Building everything from decentralized medical platforms to AI-powered search engines. He's interned with PayPal, helped a global NGO build a donation system, and casually backed a 10,000 grant from Emergent World Venture for his software and hardware innovation. He's a Spark Scholar, selected twice for one of the world's most elite cognitive science programs at UC Berkeley, rubbing shoulders with professors from MIT and Stanford. I think the list goes on. Aren't you proud of your peer? So can we have a loud round of applause for Arsalaan Alam?
So you have worked with Python, React, and also juggled front-end design with back-end integration during your PayPal internship. What was it like stepping into real-world tech ecosystem while still in high school?
Honestly, the tech was not that hard. The harder thing was communication between the team, because there's more factors when you work in an actual company environment, because the people there, all of them have their different expectations. All of the people, when you're working somewhere, have their different mindsets, different skills, different pros and cons. So it was my first professional working experience, and I was quite naive back then. So it was quite hard for me to just understand what people think, what people want. Tech was relatively easy because I had practiced tech, front end, back end. That was my specialty. That was why I was there. What I learned more and what I thought was more interesting was how to engage and communicate with people properly.
Okay, so the world today is talking about AI ethics, sustainability, and responsible innovation. Where do you see your skills having some meaningful impact in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, in the skills, I think ethical AI, or for building tech that encourages sustainability, I think it's the need of the hour, because with AGI coming in, I am sure you guys know about ChatGPT, all of that stuff. And there's this term called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, which is basically that if AI has enough power to think on a human level, has agency to perform its own actions similar to a human. So my current work was in AI safety, which is building safe and responsible AI. I remember when I was like 10 years old, 12 years old, there was a lot of fiction where they portrayed that, okay, someday robots or AI might take control over humanity and just like overthrow humanity and have their own conscience. And I think it's really possible in the next 20, 30 years that this might be, not exactly this, but something like this might actually be possible. So I'm working on AI safety. I'm working under some professors. I'm working for making AI systems more safe, so that they always obey the humans, or they always understand the humans, but they never overthrow them or never overtake them in general terms.
So I noticed that you have earned a spot not just in one edition, but 2 editions of Spark. A spot at Spark 22 at UC Berkeley, and also a program run by professors from MIT and Stanford and ran by tech giants like OpenAI. So my question to you is that what sparked your interest in applying to such elite programs, and how did you even get in the first place, being in class 12?
Yeah, so the thing is, Spark. Spark is a summer program. The full form is Summer Program of Applied Rationality and Cognition. It is more so known as therapy for nerds in unofficial language. So what the program is about, it gets a bunch of people who are quantitatively talented, like who are good at math or CS. So if you guys are interested in math or CS, I'll definitely recommend the program. And they get 30 people, 30 or 40 is the max batch size. They get them to a top institution. During my time, it was UC Berkeley where I went. And they get you there and they teach you a lot of things that are not just studies. So the qualification criteria is that you're already good at studies. Now you need to know other things. Now you need to build your cognitive abilities. So my initial interest for applying to this camp was I've always been thinking. I've always like prioritized thinking on how I think, not what I think. So I've been trying to understand my own cognition by myself. Like, okay, why am I thinking this? How am I thinking this? So that's what sparked my interest in this program, because they teach you about rationality, how to be the best version of yourself, how to be the most efficient version of yourself. So that's how, and a friend luckily told me about this program, an online friend of mine. I met him through Discord, and he told me about it, and I applied there, and I was quite lucky to get in. So the demographics of camp was, there was only 2 Indian people. 28 of them were either from the US or from North America or from Europe. So and only 2 of them were computer science people, and the left 28 of them were hardcore mathematics people, and they were really cracked. They had multiple Olympiads on their name. They were already working for big quant companies, big trading companies. So I felt quite like an imposter for the first week, but after the first week, I understood why I'm there, because it's my effort and it's my I think on the same level as them, and then. So right now, there's multiple programs like these: Spark, Pair, and Esper. So Spark happens in UC Berkeley, Pair happens in Oxford. The thing is, all these programs are fully funded, so you guys can apply. And the only eligibility for this is you need to be less than 20 years old. So I definitely recommend you guys checking this program out. It was life-changing for me, and I think it could be life-changing for you. It gives you a lot of new connections. It puts you right in the heart of the world, San Francisco or maybe Oxford, because that's where all the brightest minds or the top most concentrated minds are in world at this moment.
That's a great achievement, and I'm sure everyone here would agree to that.
Yeah.
What's one interesting thing you learned at Spark which you think every student here should know about?
Yeah, so earlier I talked about, I was really curious about how I think, not what I think. There's this one thing that I think is elementary for everyone to know, but I didn't know back then, and I think not a lot of you know this. There's a lot of biases in your mind. So this is actually a sociology concept. There's like 4 or 5 biases. Names being confirmation bias, selection bias, implicit bias. What these basically mean is that you tend to believe something more that you already have a soft spot towards. Like, okay, if I, for example, if I wanna, that I'm just biased. Like, if I think maybe red is the best color. Okay, now if I see some other research study that says that, okay, red is not the best color, I would, when I'm understanding about this study, I would have an inherent bias in my mind, which will make me feel like, okay, this study is bad, this is not good, this is not saying what I wanted to say. So there's a lot of biases. Names, I said, confirmation bias, selection bias. You guys should go ahead and read about it.
How Spark focuses on thinking and decision making. How do you think it would help you in the future?
So it has been helping me. So I went to Spark back in 2022. It has been helping me in the current time, and I think for the rest of my life as well. How it helps me is, it helps me decide on anything much faster. Now, before I had much more problems deciding on anything like daily tasks or like even my engineering tasks or my problems. So it gave me an inherent brain framework to decide faster. I formed so many mental models or so many mental shortcuts that helps me to decide on any problem really fast. I think my problem solving skills have improved a lot.
You received a $10,000 grant from Emergent Ventures. Can you tell us what was it for and how it helped you?
Okay, so I received a $10,000 grant back in 2022. I was still in 12th grade. So this was for a project that I built during a hackathon itself, and then I wanted to continue it further. It was basically a device that can detect fishes and the density of fishes underwater through their voices and stridulation. So basically, it's a small device, this big. It has a Arduino and also has a Raspberry Pi. It is fully waterproof. You can place it beneath your boat when you're fishing. As a hobbyist fisher myself, fishing is very hard. Like genuinely, I have a lot of trouble fishing. That's how I got this idea. So you connect the application to your mobile, and when you're floating when you're rowing, or when you're just rowing in the area, it gives you notifications for density of fishes. Like, okay, it says that, okay, if you go 45-degree northwest, then you will have, and you go 10 feet more, you'll spot density of fishes. And that's how, if you go there and if you then you have a better probability of successful fishing, because then you'll catch more fishes because you already know where the fishes are. So this was my idea back then. It was not that very developed, like the use case was not that well refined, but I built this application. I built 10 products of these, and then I shipped them across India to some research labs, and got a lot of feedback and got a lot of opportunities after they saw my work. So, and a little information about the people who funded me. They're called as Emergent Ventures. They're people who fund impactful work. So it's not a general venture capital funding. It's not like something you see in Shark Tank where they get your equity, but it is something that they fund you, no strings attached. They give you a grant amount, $10,000, $20,000, whatever, depending on your project, and they make it, and they fund bold ideas. They believe that teenagers have bold ideas. Teenagers have good projects. Teenagers are building things of their own. So if you guys have projects of your own, like you're building something that is your own idea and you think could be patented, I think Emergent Ventures are definitely a good place to apply to and get funding for your idea.
So it's a great idea, and I think we all are motivated by how early you have done this internship.
It's great. The project was great, and I believe I've seen that on GitHub, on your GitHub as well. As a follow GitHub user and an avid contributor, I love asking this to real devs. That what motivated you to start contributing to open source, and what do you mainly use GitHub for? And as you have been using and consistently contributing to open source for around 4 years, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think your question is why I contribute open source. And so basically back in 2020, I started developing my own projects and put them as public repositories on GitHub. For those of you who don't know what GitHub is a version control platform where basically if you code something, if you code something, whether it's hardware, software, you can upload it there, you can upload your code there, and then people can review your code, people can see your code, and then you can collaborate with teams to code on GitHub. So that's what he's asking me about. I had all my projects on GitHub, firstly because that's a good way to organize your projects. That's a good way to keep all the projects, all the coding you have done, because whenever you're applying to a company in the future, for a CS or for a hardware role even, they see your GitHub. They don't even see your resume that much. They don't see your 10th, 12th score. They don't see your grades and percentages. They see your GitHub if it's a developer position. So that's why I had always tried to build a really strong GitHub. For all the computer science people who are out there, my first tip is to build a really strong GitHub. It speaks much more than your resume.
So behind every achiever are quiet heroes. How would you describe the role of your parents and teacher in nurturing your ambition? And any special mentions?
Yeah, so I think I am what I am because of my parents and teachers and the school itself. So my parents always gave me space to explore, but they didn't let me get drifted as well. So they always made me more feel curious and always gave me, okay, you can do this, you can do that, you try out, you experiment yourself, you see whatever your failures are, you deal with your failures, but we won't let you get drifted though. We'll keep you anchored at some position, but you have freedom to decide on whatever. So that's how I got a lot of freedom to experiment on my own. And then the school is what basically taught me these skills, or was the stepping stone. So I remember in 6th class, I don't know if it's still there, but there was buy box or B box. So that's how I built my first project. It was an air quality monitor right here at school. I think it's still kept at the reception. And that's how I started learning hardware. And that's how in 6th, 7th, 8th class, I started learning HTML. Started learning Dreamweavers. Then after that, started learning Python through school. So I think I learned a lot of these skills from school itself. I see Neela ma'am over there, and I remember her like teaching me from 6 to 8. She taught me, I think, 2 grades from 6 to 8, and I think that was the most fundamental things that I learned. Dreamweaver, HTML, I think those were definitely the stepping stones. So, and then in general, the school has always prioritized co-curriculars and extra activities as much as academics. Okay, you should be good at academics as well, and you should have a decent passion as well, like whatever it is, swimming or whatever. My passion was coding, so yeah, I think school just gave me the skills and also gave me the platform to develop myself more and more.
You have already told a lot about what school has played a role in your life, but can you elaborate what opportunities school gave you while being in school?
Yeah, so the opportunity school gave me early on, back in 2016, 2017, was inter-school competitions. So I still remember I went to a decent amount of inter-school competitions, whether it was for coding, whether it was for maybe even Scratch. Do you guys remember Scratch? So it was for coding in Scratch or coding in Python or video editing or graphic designing back at 6 to 8. So that's where I met a lot of people from other schools. And before that, I thought I was living in a nutshell, because my whole perspective of people was from the people from our school. And I thought that, okay, the whole state of the art of this world is our school. But when I met people outside of my school and I saw that, okay, these guys are so cracked, these guys are like so much ahead of me, despite being of the same age. That's how my initial fire started. Okay, I want to do something extraordinary maybe. I don't want to stick to the same normal routine. So inter-school competitions gave me the first kind of exposure.
So, a few questions I'm going to ask. First of all, what advice would you give to class 11th and 12th students who are very interested in coding and problem solving, and how could they apply to global programs like SPARK?
Yeah, so I think 11-12 is the most pivotal stage in your life, like in your early life, because it decides a lot of things. So it decides firstly what college you're going into, and then what career path. It's the basic stepping stone for what your career path is going to be. So the thing is, you need to plan it wisely, and you need to also do things on the side that you really like, and you think you can work there for the next 100 years, and think that you breathe. So for me, it was coding. So for you, first you have to find a niche. It can be anything. It can be cooking. It can be designing. It can be hardware engineering. It can be software engineering. It can be making robots. Whatever. After you've made this, after you decide your niche, you need to do a lot of research. You have Google. You have the best AI tools, and then you have now the best AI search engines like Perplexity AI. You use them and you try to find opportunities. The best thing the world has is opportunities for everyone. You try to find opportunities, international, national, whatever, and you then, as soon as you keep searching out these opportunities, you develop your own heuristics about, okay, what kind of competitions are good, what kind of competitions are bad, and you need to feed in yourself the exposure. You need to understand what the whole state of the world is, and not just what the state of our school is. So you need to just keep on researching and finding more ideas, finding more competitions, finding more fellowships, stuff like this, and finding yourself more exposure, basically. So I personally know about a couple of these programs, seven to eight programs. Some of them are very, very prestigious. Some of them are fully funded. Some of them are international, some of them are national. So if you guys have a specific domain or a niche that you guys are interested in, maybe computer science or something else, I have for biology as well. So you guys can DM me. I can give you my number, and I'll tell you about some of these programs.
Okay, so we have Adya.
Hello. I'm more interested to know how you feel as a Delphite coming back to the school.
Yeah, so it's kind of a surreal feeling because since I've graduated, this is my first time coming to DLF, and it was actually nice seeing all the faces that I remember. Like I remember all the teachers there, like at least 90% of them. I know them by name, and it was it's kind of a weird feeling. Like I was there, I was sitting in the halls myself, and yeah, I mean it's kind of a weird feeling, but I'm really happy to be back here and just like mentor you guys and have a better future for DLF overall.
Okay. Next question. Who would like to ask? Okay, we have so many hands here. Let me give it to Aditya first.
Out of all the competitions you have participated in, which was the most fun and why?
So there was this competition called as NASA Space App Challenge. It's a big competition. There was like 30,000 people participating in my when I was there. So I came top 45 and out of the 30,000 people. It was quite fun. My team was of 6-7 people. 2 of them were from India, the rest of them from the US, and it was a competition over a week. So I got to know about a lot of. I made a lot of friends with the team I had, and like I went to the US last year and I met most of those friends. So it was, I think it's a nostalgic experience, but also my best hackathon experience because of the team I had.
Okay, can we have the next question? You want to ask a question? I already have one in line, so let me talk.
First of all, how are you?
Very good. How about you?
So recently I gave an interview for an NGO. I was applying for social media post and video editing, and when I was in the interview, like it was hot, somewhere around May 3rd. So I was panicking and I was fearing, I was quite nervous and had the fear of judgment. So as you mentioned earlier, that you have been in many internships, and I believe internships require interviews. So how did you manage that fear of judgment?
Yeah, so I remember my first interview. I was also quite quite nervous because I also didn't know what was going to happen. I also didn't know what's going to happen. This person can ask me anything. This person will judge me. This person obviously knows more than me, and this person would judge how I look, how I feel, how I think, whatever. So personally, for me, this fear went as much as after I gave a lot of interviews, like 10, 15 interviews. After that, I was like, okay, wow, there's another. I have to talk to this person for 30 minutes, okay. And then I thought I am the interviewer. Like it was more about the mindset thing. You have to be chill. You have to think like, okay, I'm just going to have this call. I'm just going to have a normal conversation with this person, and it's not a normal conversation, but you have to trick your mind to feel like it's a normal conversation. And for the second thing, if you want to practice how to give interviews, there's this platform called as Merkle, MERCOR, Merkle. You can go there and you can give practice interviews to an AI. The AI can hear you, the AI can understand you, and then AI can cross-question you, and then AI even has a face. So you can practice interviews with them, and I think you'll improve your interviewing skills with that.
So, as you know, your brother's of. So, my question is, what was his contribution to your journey? And what would be an advice to students like him? I am pretty similar to him. And like I think me and him have a similar personality, and you know him the best. So, what would be the perfect advice for students? And what was his contribution to your journey?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. So
He must have been, putting all the barriers in your journey. Must be contributing all the struggles, all the nuisances. Is that so, Farhan? No? Let's hear it.
Yeah, I don't know. Farhan is a boon and a bane both. So I think there was a lot of Farhan. It was kind of sometimes he was kind of not exactly jealous, but you get what I mean. What I was doing, but then he also quite helped me a lot by like when I was working late at the nights and stuff. He used to let me have the lights on and just like he used to have some mercy on me, and he used to tolerate the lights being on while I worked and he slept. Some advice for you guys, if you are like Farhan, because I know how Farhan is, you should focus. You should have some focus in your life. You should try to maybe try all the methods to increase your focus. Maybe you should meditate. Maybe you should like do really hard meditation, or try to increase your focus span, and just that's it.
Okay. Okay, now it's time for a rapid fire with you. One word or one-liner answers only, don't think too much. Spark in one word.
Amazing.
MIT or Stanford, whose lecture would you never miss?
MIT.
Front end or back end, what do you prefer working on?
Back end.
Most used app on your phone?
Twitter.
Favorite tech personality?
Satoshi Nakamoto.
One snack that powered your late night sessions?
Pizza.
Your superpower, speed, logic or creativity?
Logic.
One thing you packed first for birthday?
My clothes.
What's cooler, building software or solving human problems?
Building software to solve human problems.
Dream university?
UC Berkeley.
Berkeley dorms or DLF canteen, which one wins?
Conflict of interest. Kill.
You win $1 million, first thing you do?
Put it in Bitcoin.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.